Hello everyone, today we're diving into a sci-fi romantic film called Cyborg Girl. Heads up, there will be spoilers ahead. The story starts in 2008 with a young man named Jiro who is feeling down as he browses a gift shop. Jiro always spends his birthdays alone, so he decides to buy himself a present. As he picks out a gift, he remembers a brief moment of happiness from his last birthday, a time when something unbelievable happened at this very mall. 1 year earlier, Jiro was wandering through the shopping center when he noticed a beautiful girl in a strange outfit smiling at him. She seemed out of place, and to his surprise, she began stealing clothes from the store right in front of him. She quickly put on her new outfit without the shopkeepers noticing and started walking toward Jiro. She didn't say a word, just kept looking at him like she knew him well, even though they were strangers. The girl continued to follow Jiro even after they left the mall. Jiro, distracted by her appearance, accidentally walked right into a pole, showing just how captivated he was. He then went to a restaurant to celebrate his birthday by himself, even taking out a mini girlfriend figurine he bought as a lonely gift. But to his surprise, the life-size version of the girl he saw earlier walked in and crashed his solo party. She started ordering nearly everything on the menu, and Jiro soon realized his wallet was taking a serious hit as the dishes kept coming. Things got even stranger when the girl started eating in a way that made Jiro wonder if she was from another world. He began to stress about how many dishes he'd have to wash to cover the bill. When the check arrived, Jiro nearly fainted from the shock, but the girl confidently told him she'd handle it and asked him to wait outside. To his shock, Jiro watched as she dashed out of the restaurant without paying, turning him into an accidental accomplice in her escape. The restaurant manager chased them down, but they managed to get away. Once they were safe, the girl suddenly told Jiro to close his eyes and made him promise not to open them until she was gone. The woman reveals to Jiro that she's actually from the future and then quickly runs across the street. When Jiro opens his eyes, she's gone, leaving him standing there, tears streaming down his face in sadness. Back in the present, a ball of lightning suddenly appears in the middle of a busy street, sparking chaos and causing multiple accidents as people panic in fear. As the blinding light fades, it reveals a woman who looks exactly like Jiro's mysterious girlfriend from a year ago. But this time, she seems different, more robotic in her movements and behavior. The woman wanders into a dark alley where a group of gangsters are counting their stolen loot. They see her approaching and immediately surround her, like predators eyeing their prey. But they quickly realize something is off when they see the unsettling, intense look in her eyes. She grabs the gang leader and hurls him away with incredible strength, then punches another thug straight into the wall. A third man tries to attack her, imagining himself as Bruce Lee, but she knocks him out cold with a single punch. The woman then heads to the shopping mall, ignoring all the traffic and effortlessly taking clothes from the store, knocking out any managers who try to stop her. Meanwhile, Jiro is at the same restaurant where he celebrated his birthday last year. He's stunned when the girl suddenly appears in front of him again, but this time something seems very different. She begins to sing in a robotic voice while shaking her head oddly. Things go from weird to worse as she slams Jiro's head into his birthday cake and sprays champagne all over his face. Before Jiro can recover, chaos erupts as a criminal starts shooting a machine gun at the crowd, sending everyone scrambling for cover. The girl quickly jumps into action, saving Jiro from the hail of bullets. The shooter then threatens to set the whole place on fire with gasoline, but the girl grabs a bottle, smashes it over his head, and rushes at him like a blur. She disarms the criminal, forces him to drink the gasoline, and then throws him out the window, sending him crashing onto the street outside. The woman's quick actions save everyone in the restaurant, leaving Jiro completely stunned by what he's just witnessed. The shooter continues spitting gasoline from his mouth, and a stray cigarette falls onto his lap, causing him to burst into flames as Jiro and the girl leave the restaurant. They make their way to Jiro's apartment, where he frantically starts tidying up, hiding tissue papers and tearing down bikini posters from his walls. But before he can finish, the lights suddenly go out, and the girl projects a hologram into the air. The hologram reveals an older version of Jiro, who explains that the woman is actually a cyborg, built by his future self to save him from the shooting incident. The older Jiro warns that an even greater danger is approaching, and he hopes that the robot girl will be able to protect him from it in the future as well. Jiro is stunned to learn the truth about her origins. Overwhelmed, he immediately tries to get intimate with the cyborg, but his advances only result in him getting knocked out cold. The girl quickly notices movement behind her. It's Jiro's pet lizard. She circles around the creature like a predator, curious and alert. The next morning, the cyborg decides to make breakfast for Jiro. But when Jiro sees what she's prepared, he realizes to his horror that she's cooked his beloved pet lizard, and he faints on the spot. Despite the rough start to the day, the robot girl follows Jiro to class. Realizing he's running late, she scoops Jiro onto her shoulder and dashes off at blinding speed. She moves so fast that everyone else seems frozen in slow motion, and she manages to get Jiro into his class just in time for roll call. At lunchtime, Jiro is amazed by the sheer amount of food the cyborg can consume, all while his wallet grows lighter by the second. He also notices that the girl is completely unfazed by other men's flirting attempts. When Jiro's friend tries his luck, she swiftly tosses him aside like a pesky raccoon raiding a trash can. Later, Jiro introduces the cyborg to his other friends, but she struggles to act like a normal girl. The situation takes a turn when she malfunctions after just 1 cup of alcohol, glitching uncontrollably. Jiro tries desperately to cover up her robotic quirks, but it's no use. The girl's head spins around like she's straight out of a horror movie. Embarrassed and panicked, Jiro grabs her and they make a hasty exit, leaving his friends stunned and confused by the bizarre display. The next day, Jiro takes the cyborg to work, where she nonchalantly steals food from a little kid. However, they don't realize that a major tragedy is unfolding nearby. A distracted truck driver, eyes glued to his phone, loses control of his vehicle and speeds toward a young boy. The cyborg, with her incredible speed, saves the child just in time and returns to the restaurant as if nothing happened. As they spend more time together, Jiro finds himself falling in love with the cyborg. He starts dressing her up like a real girlfriend, adding little touches that make her seem more and more human. However, Jiro's growing affection also leads him to try some inappropriate moves, acting like a typical simp. Each time, the cyborg smacks him around effortlessly, like swatting a pesky mosquito, reminding him that some lines just shouldn't be crossed. Having a super powerful robot girlfriend definitely has its perks. She can easily grab that dollar stuck under a giant bus, or help Jiro study for exams by projecting notes like a living projector. Jiro starts taking care of her too, letting her sleep in his bed. But he begins to notice something strange. The girl often comes back with dirt smudges on her face, and Jiro can't help but wonder what she's been up to at night. It's soon revealed that the cyborg has been secretly saving people from disasters, like the fire that burned down an entire building the previous night. Thanks to her, everyone inside made it out safely. One afternoon, while making lunch, the cyborg suggests taking Jiro back to his hometown. She explains that Jiro's older self always regretted not visiting his village again before he died. This hits Jiro hard, and he tears up, remembering how his hometown was destroyed by earthquakes when he was young, leaving nothing but ruins. The cyborg reassures Jiro that she has the ability to take him back, as she can time travel with anyone by her side. They decide to go immediately, and Jiro is overwhelmed when they arrive, seeing the town just as he remembered it. They wander through the streets, alive with festival celebrations, and Jiro is amazed to see familiar faces everywhere. Eventually, Jiro spots his younger self, a little boy, and they follow him to his house where his mother is. The boy leads them to a secret place where he hid his childhood treasures. There, Jiro finds a photo of his family along with a heartfelt letter he wrote to his future self. Jiro is overwhelmed with joy from the memories they brought back, and he thanks the cyborg from the bottom of his heart. They return to the present, but Jiro ends up in the hospital, feeling the effects of time travel. As he watches the cyborg from his bed, Jiro starts to question whether she has any real feelings for him, or if it's all just wishful thinking on his part. The next day, while Jiro is recovering in his hospital bed, he sees a news report about police officers surrounding a school where a criminal is holding hostages. The man inside threatens to kill a teacher and her students, and the police seem helpless to resolve the situation. Suddenly, a woman charges into the building, racing up the stairs. She swiftly stops the criminal by throwing him out of a window, causing him to crash into the ground below. The police quickly apprehend the man, and Jiro smiles with tears of joy as he realizes that his girlfriend is also a superhero. Jiro's feelings for the cyborg deepen, and he finally decides to lean in for a kiss. However, he is disappointed when the cyborg doesn't show any emotions in response to their embrace. She offers to try the kiss again, but Jiro pulls away, hurt by her inability to share his feelings. That night, as the cyborg is powered down, Jiro apologizes, confessing that all he really wanted was for her to say that she loves him, even though he knows it might never happen. In an attempt to stir some emotion in the cyborg, Jiro tries dating another woman to make the robot jealous. However, this only leaves him feeling emptier than before. Things get worse when a man starts flirting flirting with the cyborg right in front of Jiro, even asking her to dance. She draws everyone's attention by dancing in a robotic manner, completely oblivious to Jiro's feelings. Seeing this, Jiro, overwhelmed with jealousy, storms out of the room. The cyborg notices and quickly follows him, tossing the other man aside like a spinning top. She catches up to Jiro and follows him to a quiet park. There, Jiro tries to kiss her again, hoping for some kind of emotional response, but instead, he gets slapped. The cyborg reacts to Jiro's frustration by grabbing the other woman and throwing her into the air, making her crash into a nearby fountain. Furious, Jiro yells at the cyborg, accusing her of always doing the opposite of what he wants. They eventually find themselves back at the same spot where they first said goodbye. Overwhelmed with anger, Jiro shouts for the cyborg to close her eyes, telling her that he never wants to see her again. He storms off, leaving the cyborg standing alone. After parting ways with his cyborg companion, Jiro tries to return to his normal life, but he can't shake the emptiness left by her absence. Although he starts to miss her deeply, he convinces himself that this separation is for the best. Despite Jiro's harsh words, the cyborg continues to look out for him from afar. She even leaves him a pet to keep him company and sends messages through billboards outside his window, reminding him that she still cares. Jiro is touched by her thoughtfulness, but before he can respond, a violent earthquake strikes. The entire building shakes, and everything in Jiro's apartment is thrown to the floor. He looks out the window in horror as nearby buildings collapse one after another. Soon, Jiro's own apartment starts to crumble. The walls crack, and the floor begins to break apart under the pressure. In the nick of time, the cyborg girl arrives, catching Jiro just before he falls and shielding him from the falling debris as the entire building collapses into rubble. Jiro clings to her, hugging her tightly as he apologizes for his harsh words. He realizes how much he needs her, but the danger isn't over yet. The entire city lies in ruins, and the scale of the destruction is overwhelming. People on the streets are running for their lives as buildings crumble around them, causing chaos everywhere. The cyborg girl clings to Jiro, doing everything she can to protect him, using her body to shield him from falling debris. Suddenly, a large vehicle speeds toward them, and the cyborg quickly throws Jiro out of the way, but gets hit and crashes into a building. Jiro watches in shock, fearing the worst, but the cyborg survives and walks out, mostly unharmed. Jiro hugs her in relief, but the cyborg notices that more buildings are collapsing behind them. Realizing they can't both escape in time, she pushes Jiro hard, sending him crashing into a car, just as the structure falls onto her. Before Jiro can even mourn, the ground shakes again, and a giant hole opens up beneath him. He falls, but manages to grab onto the edge, hanging on for dear life. To his surprise, the cyborg, buried under rubble, wakes up. Seeing Jiro in danger, she pushes against the heavy debris with all her strength, tearing off her lower body in the process, but she slowly crawls towards him. Just before Jiro falls into the pit, the cyborg grabs him and pulls him to safety. Jiro is shocked to see that she's badly damaged, missing her legs. The cyborg urges Jiro to run and save himself, but Jiro refuses to leave her behind. Seeing his loyalty, the cyborg smiles and tells Jiro she finally understands what it means to love someone. The ground starts to shake violently again, and the cyborg pushes Jiro away just in time as the entire block collapses on top of her. Jiro screams her name in despair, watching helplessly as she disappears under the rubble. When the earthquake finally stops, Jiro frantically searches through the wreckage, desperately looking for the cyborg. After a long, painful search, he finds her hand sticking out from a pile of debris. Jiro pulls her out and hugs her tightly, crying in the pouring rain. But the cyborg girl doesn't respond. She sacrificed herself to save him, and now she lies still, no matter how much Jiro pleads for her to wake up. 61 years later, Jiro is now an old man, but he never gave up on the cyborg. After decades of hard work and research, he finally manages to revive her, restoring her memory as well. The two are finally reunited, and the cyborg, now fully aware of her past, tells Jiro that she still loves him. The old man smiles, his heart full once again. They celebrate Jiro's birthday together, just like they used to, surrounded by the many prototypes Jiro built over the years. In a playful moment, the cyborg pushes Jiro's head into the cake, just like she did so long ago. They sit together, holding hands and watching the sunset. As they share this peaceful moment, Jiro quietly passes away beside her, finally at peace. Many years later, a young female student tells her friend about a robot she saw at the museum that looks exactly like the girl from Jiro's story. They rush to the exhibit and find a statue of Jiro standing next to the robot girl he created. The students marvel at how lifelike the robot is, looking just like the cyborg from the old man's tales. During an auction where all the old old cyborgs are being sold, a young woman manages to acquire the robot by outbidding everyone else. As she explores the cyborg's memories, she becomes deeply moved by the robot's recollections of Jiro. Inspired by these memories, she decides to time travel back to the moment before Jiro first meets the cyborg girl, so she can experience her time with Jiro firsthand. When the woman sees Jiro for the first time, she instantly falls in love with him. However, she knows she can't express her feelings because she's aware that she will eventually have to leave. To spare Jiro from seeing her sadness, she asks him to close his eyes and runs away in tears, time traveling once more. Back in the present, Jiro is still searching for the cyborg. When he finally finds her, he cradles the robot girl in his arms, crying with relief and sorrow. What he doesn't realize is that the human girl has also returned to his life. As Jiro looks up, he sees her standing before him, causing him to stare in disbelief. She reveals that she never intended to go back to her own time and has decided to stay with Jiro, choosing to spend the rest of her life with the one she loves. So what do you guys think about this movie? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed my video, please press like and subscribe for more content. I'll see you all next time.